My name is Sheila Brennan, and I am the co-director of Histories of the National Mall. Histories of the National Mall came out of an idea I had and one of my colleagues had while we were actually on the mall. And we had some questions about the space where we were standing in, and we looked around and found that there was actually no place to find out any history of the mall. So we had this idea that a mobile site of some sort would be the best way to explore that space, because it is a wonderful vista and you don't want to block any of the views, and you don't want to take away from the experience of actually walking around and experiencing the mall. And so we thought that relying on visitors' mobile devices and some free Wi-Fi in the mall, that we could create an experience that allowed visitors to uncover the hidden stories about the ways that that public space has changed over time. Mapping is always hard, and it's always harder than you think it's going to be from the beginning, and especially when you want to serve it on a mobile site. And we decided very early on that we did not want to build a mobile app. And the app is different from a site in that the app relies on the native functionality of a specific phone. But it also means that a user has to pull something down, download it, download all the content, and they need strong Wi-Fi or a very strong data connection. And we wanted to remove as many of those barriers for usage as possible. So we started out locating sites and places such as memorials, monuments, museums, gardens, and use that as our entree into further exploring how we could create a deeper mapping layered experience. Luckily, there have been a lot of developments in mapping technologies, especially for mobile phones and for mobile browsers. So we were able to make use of a JavaScript library called Leaflet. Initially, we imagined that we would use a different set of plugins for Omeka. We imagined using the Neatline suite, and we found that actually it was too heavy. So sometimes there are very powerful and wonderful plugins or platforms that work well in specific ways. And we just found for serving up geolocated content and for map layers on a mobile device with sometimes very weak Wi-Fi on the mall, that we needed to go as light as possible. And Leaflet.js is a very light way of rendering maps. So the process, actually one of the more difficult pieces, was finding maps that could actually be geo-rectified onto the mall. There are a lot of maps that are beautiful drawings, but they aren't actually tied to specific longitude and latitudinal points on a specific place. So if you are starting a project that is a mapping project, I would go simple first. I would start with what you can try out for free. So starting with Google Maps is often, a common place to start in beginning to see the potential. And I think it depends really on the trajectory of the project and the users for where a student may want to go next. Is designing the map and building the map part of the research process? Or is it part of a way to visualize data that you've already collected? Or is it part of the storytelling? So I think those are things very early on that anyone who's planning a project, whether you're a student or you're a seasoned public history professional, that you need to figure some of those things out very early on, play around with the free simple things, and then build from there.